Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Sessions Cafe. I'm your host, Keri D. Singleton, and today, part 2 of my exclusive conversation with the legendary and very charismatic Cynthia Horner. Let's talk about Journalist of the Year award. You probably have many, but what was it like for you to get that?
Well, the last one that I got was the Media Icon Award. That was October 3rd in Atlanta. Mm-hmm. And that was given to me by the Living Legends Foundation. And what they do is they always try to recognize people from different fields that have really kind of helped shape the industry. Mm-hmm. So when I went there, I was just in awe because there I was on the red carpet. Mm-hmm. Now, I've been on red carpets before, but this was different because the focus was on me. All these people were out there to interview me, and they had photographers from Getty Images. And for a journalist to get to be on a red carpet in that capacity, that is just such a surreal moment, because usually I would be the person standing there trying to quickly get a few sound bites from somebody. So it was just so amazing. The publisher of Upscale magazine, mm-hmm. Bernard Bronner, whose family owns Bronner Brothers hair care company, mm-hmm. he was there on the red carpet to see me. Wow. I gave him his start because at one point he was a singer. He had a group. He and his brother had a group before they got roped into handling the duties at Bronner Brothers hair care products. So he wanted to thank me for what I had done for him. And then Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis came through. Wow. They were getting an award too. They were getting a Lifetime Achievement Award. But I was at the beginning of Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis's career because they were members of The Time, which was Prince's band. Mm-hmm. And Prince used to torment all of us. And they had a lot of talent, which I knew that they did. And I actually encouraged them to explore their talent as writers and producers. That didn't work out too well with Prince because they were supposed to be his band. So eventually they lost their job. But I told them that they would become even greater in another capacity, which they ended up being, especially through their relationship with Janet Jackson.
Right, of course.
Yeah.
Wow. So many awesome things can be said about you, but then your lineage is equally impressive, Ms. Horner. Your late dad, Mr. Lawrence E. Horner, was the first black mayor of Thousand Oaks, California, which is, of course, out in Ventura County.
Right.
What was it like being the daughter of the first black mayor of Thousand Oaks? I mean, that's a pretty prestigious town.
By the time he became the mayor, I was in college. Mm-hmm. So my brother and sister got the full effect of that because they were living at home. I was living on campus at Pepperdine University. However, I did spearhead his campaign. That's how I first got involved with public relations. Wow. I came up with a slogan, which was called "I'm in Horner's Corner," and we had these yellow buttons made up that said this, and it was a grassroots campaign. We went door to door, handing out materials because at that point I had been doing a newsletter for our community, so therefore we were able to use those connections to try to get door to door to let people know that my dad was running for an office. And one of his best friends was a Mormon. They worked together. So the Mormons actually helped with the campaign. They sent people door to door, and that was very, very unusual back in those days. So when my dad got elected, the whole town was so proud. They felt that it was such a groundbreaking situation, especially since my dad was somebody that didn't really see color. He felt that we we were really a melting pot.
Right.
My dad followed the teachings of Dr. Martin Luther King, and Dr. Martin Luther King always wanted there to be a day where all children, regardless of skin color, ethnicity, could all be together, and that we could all learn, go to whatever schools we wanted to go to, and that kind of thing.
Right.
So my dad kind of followed in those teachings as well, and my dad was also a member of Alpha Phi Alpha fraternity,
Wow.
and Martin Luther King was a member of that fraternity.
As well. Wow.
Yeah.
So I know you must have been so proud the day that Mr. Horner won.
Oh, yes, it was. In fact, there are photos, there's at least one photo on the internet that shows all of us together, me, my brother, sister, and my mom. And
Wow.
my dad is still revered. There's all kinds of activities and accolades that are still coming in for him, even though he passed away during the pandemic.
Right.
And I think that it's important to know that even though he was the first black mayor, he's still considered one of the most prominent African Americans in the history of politics in Southern California.
Wow.
Because even though, of course, over the years, we've actually had a black president, it's still very difficult when you are going into politics to kind of push through racism and push your agenda.
Yeah.
But my dad did a lot for the city of Thousand Oaks. He helped get a shopping mall built, and he did so much for young people with Little League and other things. Yeah, so I really admire my dad, and he always taught me to try to be the best that I could be. So he taught me how to read when I was only 3 years old.
Wow.
Yeah.
Such an honor. Such an honor. Circling back to you, Ms. Horner, as an advocate for literacy, and you and I had this conversation earlier this morning, actually, what's your opinion on this generation's seemingly lack of interest in reading? Because you and I talked about this earlier before the
Yeah,
taping
it's
today.
very disappointing to me. I think that teachers are going to have to work harder. I realize that teachers are really inundated with so many different responsibilities, and actually all of this should start at home.
Yes, right.
But
yes, ma'am.
we have situations where children are in single-parent households, and there may not be an opportunity for the parents to really work that much with their children, so they're expecting the teachers to pick up the slack.
Right.
But I think that students also have to explore curiosity. They're going to have to put down the phones and the video games.
Say that.
Yeah, and they're going to have to take a deep dive and pick up books. I don't expect anyone to ever read as much as I did. I mean, I literally read almost every book that was in the library of my town when I was like a young person. I was checking out so many books that I would have to take my brother and sister with me so that we would
carry
have
them?
3 library cards, because you could get 10 books per card. And so my brother and sister used to have to go with me, and we would take these grocery bags and fill them up with books, and then return them a few weeks later, and then I would get more.
Wow.
And it was such a crazy experience, because my brother and sister, although they liked reading to a certain degree, nobody liked reading as much as me.
Right.
I mean, I would read at night. That's why I now have to wear glasses, because
You were reading
when
all the time.
my parents would put us to bed, I had a flashlight, and I was reading books in bed.
Wow.
Yeah. And I just wish that other children would do that too, because books open up your eyes to so much. And one of the books that really resonated with me was the autobiography of Malcolm X, because that was written by Alex Haley,
Right.
who later went on to author Roots.
Correct.
And I got to meet him when I started working at Right On, because
Wow.
Roots became a mini-series, and
Right.
I got to meet Alex Haley and tell him that he was my encouragement to go into journalism, because that was the first time I had seen a black person who was an author. And that meant a lot to me, and it touched
and a prominent author at that.
Yeah, it touched him deeply to know, because by the time I met Alex Haley, I was working at Right On. Right On was considered the fourth most prominent publication in history.
Wow.
You had Ebony/Jet, you had Essence, you had Black Enterprise, and then Right On was right underneath
Amazing.
that. Yeah.
You're also a co-author. New York Times bestseller, The Magic of Michael Jackson.
Right. And that was an interesting experience. At the time that that book came out, Michael Jackson was on the cover of every single magazine possible, because
What year would that have been?
yeah, he was huge at that point because of Thriller. And
What year was this? 82 or 83? 84?
no, it wasn't 82, or probably closer to 84.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
But by then, Michael Jackson, he could have sold a cup of coffee. He was that popular.
Right.
We sold so many magazines that it was unbelievable. We were selling millions of magazines. So at one point, we put out a book called The Magic of Michael Jackson, which was a compilation of articles that a few of the Right On staff members and freelancers had put together.
Okay.
And I'll never forget the day that I found out that that book was on the New York Times bestseller list, but it goes back to what I was saying. Michael Jackson, he could have sold anything.
Anything
He
and
was
everything.
that popular at the time.
Wow.
Yeah.
Let's take a break, and I want to talk about your beloved sorority
Oh,
that you're
Sigma Gamma Rho.
wearing the
My
colors
colors.
for today.
Yeah.
Yes. So we'll be right back after this. And we're back with my exclusive interview with Miss Cynthia Horner. Yes, I'm proud. She just said it was a great experience. It's been a great experience.
Yes. Yes, you've always been wonderful to me. You have been such a great supporter.
Thank you.
And I think it's very telling, because you give back. You've done so much for me. I've been involved with the African American Day Parade and the CITO Awards, all of these things because of you.
Well, it's been an honor.
And I think that it's important for us to recognize the black press, though. Me recognizing you, you recognizing me, because we have to stick together. If it were not for the black press, none of the celebrities that we've talked about today, or that we see like on this magazine cover,
Right.
these people would not be where they were if it had not been for the black press, because the black press was always your base.
Right.
And that's something that younger entertainers need to know, because they're not familiar with any of that. They have no idea what all of that means. But those of us that were around from the beginning, we know exactly what that means.
Right. And it's vital. I mean, it's an honor to hear you say that. And I don't know. I guess at this point I gotta carry the torch.
Yep.
Today you're wearing blue and gold, and that's because your sorority, Sigma Gamma Rho. That's their colors.
Yes, Sigma Gamma Rho sorority was founded by 7 educators back in Butler University in Indianapolis, Indiana,
Okay.
which is where my
you're
dad
from.
was born,
Yeah.
and that's where I actually grew up to a certain degree. And The interesting thing about me is I'm not somebody that got in a sorority the way you might see on TV with people, you know, the parties and all that. I was specifically selected because of my involvement with Right On magazine. So I was an honorary soror for many years, and then I joined a chapter in Harlem. Now I'm in a chapter in Brooklyn. It's called Eta Nu Sigma, Eta Nu 22. And we do a lot of community service work. In fact, we just did a clothing drive in connection with Busta Rhymes.
Nice.
And I proudly can tell you that I collected a lot of the clothing that these needy families were able to receive. We had 700 pieces of clothing. And I'm somebody that's very good at twisting arms and asking for donations. I had people literally getting clothes out of their store saying, here, take these clothes and let these young people have these clothes. We had coats, we had footwear and everything. So I do a lot of community service.
You're definitely a philanthropist. That's
yeah.
Cool. Yeah.
And I really love it, you know. I think that these sororities and fraternities are very important because they deal directly with the community. And you see them at the parades, like the African American Day Parade. You see them out there marching. And I think that it's a very, very good experience. You have to have had your college degree to be a member. And a lot of these people are extremely prominent in their sororities, including former Vice President Kamala Harris. She was a member of AKAs. And there are many, many women that are members of sororities. In fact, the Speaker of the New York City House, Adrienne Adams, she is a member of the AKAs. So yeah. So many people, you know, a lot of the television newscasters that you see, they're in sororities also.
Now, I know you love your sorority, right? But something I'm sure you, or someone that you love more than that, would be a good buddy of mine. Your husband, look at you beaming.
Yeah, I knew you were going to say Ken the photographer.
Great guy, and an awesome photographer. That man is so celebrated. I admire him so much, and he's such a humble guy. How did you two connect? I mean, the publicist and the publisher, I should say, and the photographer. It must have been a hell of a wedding.
Yeah. Oh, it was. Yeah. It was. I wish I had known you back then. You would have been there. I met him through a press release that I had written.
Oh, wow.
He saw a telephone number, and he happened to call to get credentials for an event that I was working on because I, you know, in addition to being an editor, I had started a PR firm called Cinnamon Chips.
That's right, yeah.
So we ended up talking on the phone for 3 hours.
Wow.
So he didn't know what I looked like. He didn't even know that it was me. He never read Right On magazine.
What?
So when he, he was into sports.
Okay.
Knicks fan.
Okay.
So we ended up meeting, and we just stared at each other. And then he said, "How old are you?" I'm like, oh my God, because I was dressed like a kid, really. And so he was confused. And so then there was another event that was coming up, so he went to that. And it was on Valentine's Day. So he said, we should sit together, and since neither of us have a Valentine's. And then after that, I told him my sorority was having an activity for young people, a youth symposium. He said, do you all need a photographer? He said, I can volunteer my services. So the rest is history. Everywhere he went, people would admonish him and say, you didn't know who Cynthia Horner was? He said, well, I never read Right On magazine. And that was the reason why I was willing to marry him. It was a one man that I met that did not care about the magazine because he never read it.
Right.
And that's why I never got married over the years, because it was always about the magazine. It was never about me.
Right.
So when we had our wedding, we didn't have a star-studded wedding, but it was a star-studded industry wedding. We had 300 people. They were all publicists, photographers, all the behind-the-scenes people. They were all there to support me. I had a bridal shower that was put together by Flo Anthony.
One of my dearest friends.
Yeah, entertainment journalist. And it was a wonderful day. My mom and dad took care of all the decorations. My mom made my bouquet. She made the boutonnieres. One day I'll have to let you see these photos.
Where was the wedding at?
It was held in Newark at the Robert Treat Hotel.
That's very familiar.
Yeah, and we had the ceremony and the reception all in one location in the ballrooms, and Dr. Bob Lee was our DJ.
Yes.
And the late Hal Jackson was in the wedding because my husband admired him so much, and Hal Jackson's wife, Debbie Jackson, was a good friend of mine, so they were both in the wedding along with their grandchildren. For the Flower Girls, and we also had a ring bearer. Yeah, so, you know, but the whole industry came together when they found out that I was going to get married. I mean, my sorority did a lot for me. Everybody did so much for me because they felt so excited for me. Because I had been a single woman all those years.
Right.
Yep.
Before we go, we got about a minute left. I have a wish list, and I want to know what you feel about my wish list. On the Hollywood Boulevard Walk of Fame, I want to see a Cynthia Horner star, a Patrice Rushen star, and, interestingly enough, we just mentioned her, a Flo Anthony star. What would a Cynthia Horner star dedication look like? Who would be there? Who would you like to see there?
Lawrence Hilton Jacobs.
Okay, so that quick.
My crush.
Can't tell Kenny that.
Ken knows. No, Lawrence Hilton Jacobs would love to be there. I've known him since he was on Welcome Back, Kotter, and he said in his home he has photos of me hanging up because of the fact that he admired me tremendously. I would like to see some of the Jacksons, those that still live in California, maybe their grandchildren, as well as people from some of the television shows, especially the 50 Cent franchise, Power.
Right.
I became very close to some of those characters, especially Joseph Sikora, who's on, he's on Power Book 4, Force. He's the star of that. He's the white actor who started out in the early days of Power with Omari Hardwick. Okay. But anyway, I would like to see those people there, and maybe Oprah Winfrey. Yeah. Cheryl Lee Ralph, definitely, because we used to give Cheryl Lee Ralph her early coverage. Yeah, we even did a beauty magazine with Cheryl Lee Ralph before. Oh, wow. But yes, I would love to have those people there. And I would like the star to be right over there by where Right On was located, which was at 7060 Hollywood Boulevard.
I want to be there too.
Yeah.
What's next for Cynthia Horner? Let's wrap up by talking about maybe, you know, what direction do you see yourself taking the National Association of Black Journalists?
Well, I'm trying to make sure that I continue being a mentor to people, all these new journalists that are coming along. I have a couple books that I will have coming out. Okay. Not really tell-alls. They'll tell a lot but they're not going to tell everything. There's some secrets that are going to the grave with me because I don't feel that it's my place to put some of these entertainers in a bad position, because I know it all, the good and the bad. But some of these entertainers are not here anymore, and they have relatives. So I feel a responsibility to not tell every single thing that I know. But I would make the book interesting enough to where someone would want to read it. It just, I don't like to bash people. You know, I feel that Right On is an iconic term of positivity. So I like to say what's good about people, even though other journalists might say, oh, well, if you know the negative things, we want to hear it all. But I think that my stories are good enough, the good stories that I can tell are good enough to where people would be very fascinated, because no one had that kind of access to celebrities like I did. That access was unprecedented. You could never let journalists sleep at somebody's home, and I got to sleep at people's home anytime I wanted to, if I wanted to do it, because they just liked having me around. I was just like part of the family, and I was a trusted confidant.
And I could see that. I mean, I just want to say this before we close up. We got less than a minute. You have seen so many stars come and go. You've seen so many careers blossom and falter, and some make resurgences. You're a blessing, not just to the entertainment industry, but to the world of journalism. As I sit here today, sitting across from you, a person who, when I was in my teens, as I said earlier, my entire room was a storyboard made up of your interviews. I never, ever, ever would have thought that I'd have the honor of sitting across from you and interviewing you, much less considering you a treasured friend. And I have to say, Ms. Horner, that type of relationship is so very important in the lives of not just other fellow journalists, but other black professionals. Your strides and your ability to make people like myself feel welcomed, I can never thank you enough, and you can never know what your graciousness and professionalism does for the lives and the professional journeys of other people. So I just want to thank you so much for being a guest on my show, and for being you, and for bringing us so much joy, not just between the pages of a magazine, but with who you are as a person. I thank you.
Well, I want to thank you, because as I stated earlier, you have really been wonderful. And you're so unique. You're not like a lot of these other people that are out here. You really care about your subject matter, and you're a person of integrity. And I think that we've lost a lot of the integrity, because people always want to be in a race to be the first to publicize or record a story, and it may not even be true, you know. But you're not like that. You were raised very well, and I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much. My mother will love to hear that. Thank you so much, Ms. Horner. It's been an honor and a pleasure, and I look forward to watching you continue to blossom. We'll see you guys next week.